Okay, we do it live. We're live.
We live?
We're live. Episode
We're
3.
live.
The
All
third
right.
annual weekly.
Annual. Damn. We've been doing this for 3 years?
It doesn't
Holy
sound.
fuck.
It's you can't not. It works. When you say annual, it makes it sound really important. If you say this
But
is our third weekly,
it means it's our third year.
yeah. But if you say this is our third weekly, it's just like, oh, cool weekly. This is the third annual.
Well, that's what it
Holy
is.
shit!
That's what it is.
But we have to get likes and subscribes, dude. We got this is for the fans. We have to say it's the third annual, and people like me who
I
are
don't think
stupid.
people would like to subscribe to a podcast that only does one podcast a year. Or does one episode a year.
Well, I mean, we do one every week, but we just use the word annual, and it makes it sound exciting. Sometimes you gotta lie to the people. It's what they want.
I don't think people want to be lied
They love it.
to.
Jeez, you just don't know showbiz, okay?
No,
People
I
love it.
don't.
All right, folks, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, men, women of all
Today
ages.
is X-Men. The singular X-Men. Wolverine.
We're today the chopping block is X-Men 1, 2, and 3.
The Wolverine and Friends show.
The Wolverine and that's not what. No,
Yeah, it is.
you think so?
Yeah,
Oh Jesus, we're starting this off right then, apparently, because that is not.
exactly what it is.
I won't say that he didn't play a major role, which, compared to the comics, he played a stronger role. I can't disagree with that part, but I don't think it was all about him. A lot of people got moments. The entire first movie was about Rogue, and kind of Magneto a little bit. The second one was all
Sort of
about.
about Rogue. Rogue was the damsel in distress, but go on.
She was only a damsel like the last 20 minutes. For the rest of the movie, it was about her. She didn't get captured until what? The last fight before they went to the tower.
Yes.
So she's like what? 80% of the movie? She's not damsel. That's not fair.
True. Fair enough.
Um,
Fair enough. But I will say that that's not how Rogue is in the comics, so I didn't
Oh
care.
yeah, no, yeah, that's fair. I think, but yeah, and then the second one, it was what? Wolverine did have a part to play. He was, a thing, but it was a lot about
It was.
Scott.
It was.
No, not Scott.
No.
That was
it
number
was not
3.
about Scott.
Uh,
None of them were about Scott.
Scott and Jean were in number. No, Scott died. So yeah, he was. It was
Scott
about
was in
Jean.
all of them, but Scott died literally in like the first 5 minutes of the third one.
Right. No, he died at the end of 2. Right. No, end of the
No.
first to the third one. Yeah, first to the third
Beginning
one.
of the third one.
Right.
Yeah.
Number 3 was very much so about mutants. It was about, I mean, the huge mutant thing. They involved a lot of like political stuff. I think number 3 had
Yeah.
very little to do with Wolverine. In the
No, but
sense
he was
that,
he was the main man. He was the lead man. He was the one we were following the entire movie.
was he?
Yeah. I mean, most of the X-Men movies, the Fox X-Men movies are about Wolverine and Magneto because they're like the most interesting, at least the way they write them. They're the most
Right,
and
right.
Magneto's always been the most interesting anyways. So I'll never get mad at that because I still like Magneto's probably my favorite
Oh,
character
buddy,
of the
listen.
X-Men.
When we go into the
Oof.
the second trilogy, this episode, we don't have 7 hours, but maybe I don't know. We can't do it. We'll talk about it later. But to stick with fucking this one, I want to talk about the next one because Jesus Christ, dude! Spoiler alert: Magneto in this fucking second trilogy was the greatest thing to ever happen to movies ever. Holy shit, that actor! Whew.
Yeah,
He
did
couldn't.
great.
He carried those movies on his back sometimes. I was like, is this a 10 out of 10?
Tangent. I was about to talk about the apocalypse and Magneto being in it, being unnecessary for the plot. But if he wasn't in it, the movie is garbage.
Right? Yeah, no, I definitely. We got to get there, but we won't do that. Maybe it's spoiler alert, but we'll get there later. Side note, was it? Stay tuned for next episode.
Magneto does fucking care. McAvoy does a really good job too.
That's
Like
true.
it's probably blasphemous to say, but McAvoy is better than Patrick Stewart.
I think
I don't know.
that's not fair. I think he's better. That version of Charles, younger, more dynamic
Yeah.
Charles, was very interesting. But
Also,
I
was
think
never really a fan of Charles in the comics, anyways. So that's
right. I think that the old man Charles, this just wise, quiet, stern fucker. Patrick
Yeah.
Stewart did the perfect job. I think that
He did a really good job
He did the
being,
perfect
like,
old
a-
Charles.
Yeah,
But young Charles.
a mentor that's really wise and yeah, he did a really
Right.
good job.
But I think young Charles was just phenomenally deep. We can't even help ourselves. We're not even 5 minutes in, and it's just like, okay, we need to talk about everything forever. And if you guys
So
listening, if you
we're
didn't
talking
know,
about the Wolverine and Friends movies. All
right,
right,
that's okay. So number, yeah, I was trying to discuss it. I don't think it was Wolverine and Friends. I think in number 3, definitely, he was the guy we followed, but in a sense, everyone was very important because he just happened to be there. There was no reason for him not to be there. So I don't even know if I would say that we followed him because we had the entire following of Magneto essentially. We followed Mystique for a little bit, then we followed her Magneto breaking her out of jail.
We followed Mystique in like 2 scenes, and we
which
just
led to
like
Magneto
catch up with her. But
and
like
his
that's
whole thing though.
yeah.
Magneto was the bad guys were important. We followed a lot of the bad
What I
guys.
mean is he's leading the heroes. He's leading the X-Men in this franchise. Is what I mean by the
Right.
Wolverine and Friends movies.
I see. I guess yeah.
Essentially.
I mean, he's very much like a integral part.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's because of the actor, and I did hear that apparently he was just so good that they had to turn everything into him.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'm not mad. No, it worked out great.
It can exist. It's cool. I like him. I like him. Like even though what they do my boy Cyclops dirty, I'm fine with it. I have the comics if I ever want to see Scott do some cool stuff. Also, they might do it in the MCU and make it about Cyclops. Who knows?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of how I didn't like the actor as well.
I hope they do Dark Phoenix better in MCU, but
I don't want them to do it again. Fuck, side story.
Back to short story long.
Yeah, short story long to get to maybe it is Wolverine and Friends, but not necessarily in a bad way. I think when you say it that way, I guess it makes it sound like, oh yeah, it's just all about him. Like, well, no, he's just the main man instead of Cyclops.
Yeah, which is what I mean. So it's fair.
Right. Well, that's okay. I see what you're saying. And I can't disagree with that at all. Now, I will say I don't like the actor for Cyclops in the first trilogy because he didn't. Maybe it's because I know him from different things. Like I remember him from he wasn't the bad guy in Chronicles of Riddick, was he?
I don't remember.
Carl Urban was the guy from Chronicles of Riddick too. So I knew, but that's not the guy. So who's this guy?
James Marsden.
James Marsden.
Marsden.
Martin. James Martin.
Marsden.
Oh, okay. I have seen him. Did he play Superman at some point?
He may have. I don't think so. He's in
the guy from
the only
Sonic?
guy.
No way.
Yeah, he's the guy from Sonic. He's in Westworld.
He did really good in Sonic.
Right?
What the fuck? How could he not do good as Cyclops?
The directors, maybe?
Because, his acting was terrible.
The directors were probably telling him to... I mean, his acting was, I thought, good when he was crying in the scenes that he was crying, and I thought, I believed it.
Maybe that was okay, yeah. I guess when I say acting...
Whenever he saw Jean, whenever, like, she supposedly died at the end of 2, and he came back at the beginning of 1, it's going to sound like I'm complimenting the movies because of how great the actor's performance is. Believe it's the actor's performance, not the movie or the plot.
Right, well, that's my problem, I guess. The personification, English is hard. The personification of his character, I think, was so lackluster, and he just came off as like a just disgruntled asshole.
He just what? Oh.
And it's,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's a bad thing,
because
because Cyclops...
So...
Huh? What?
That's what they wrote him as, was a disgruntled asshole, because he was supposed to be... Well, I don't know if it was confirmed, but I'm pretty sure they wrote him to be an obstacle in the way of Wolverine to get the girl, which was Jean Grey.
Right, and I wasn't a big fan of that because I like Cyclops. He's okay to be a dickhead sometimes, but I like Captain America dickhead Cyclops.
He's supposed to be the leader of the X-Men, so he's supposed to be kind of a hard ass and being like, "Yo, you got to follow the rules. We got to do this, this, and this." So
right, that's why I like Cyclops in the newer ones.
What?
Young Cyclops from the new trilogy.
Yeah, what about him?
I thought he was great. And I didn't like him at first because he was just a shitty snot-nosed punk. But then I'm like, yeah, he's a fucking teenager. He's a stupid teenager who has superpowers. Like, sure. And he runs in the same bloodline as Havoc, so it was like, they're both dickheads. It makes sense.
Havoc's not a dickhead.
Havoc was arrogant as fuck.
Not in first class? He was arrogant. I thought you were like an asshole.
Oh, no, yeah, sorry. There's a lot of words. I gotta use my words correctly, yeah. Use your words.
I thought he was. Yeah, I thought you meant like dickhead, as in like he was being like.
Right.
Yeah.
He wasn't necessarily talking down to people, but he was very arrogant. He kind of was a dickhead to Beast a lot, and like he had these snarky ass comments. So I would say it's on the fence, but he wasn't.
He was like his relationship with Beast. I thought was more like how Johnny Storm and the Thing should be in Fantastic Four movies. In the First Class and all those other ones.
Right.
Like he was taunting, but in like kind of a playful way, but Beast wasn't taking it as a playful way. So
right. It wasn't malicious, but it came off as a dickhead. Yeah, I can see that because one's not ready for that type of thing.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But yeah, I didn't like.
Also,
Sorry.
his older brother for some reason.
Which one are we
Uh,
missing? So we got Havoc, we got Scott. We're missing a third one,
Vulcan.
right? Vulcan.
Vulcan.
I don't know
Yeah,
if he's gonna show up.
He's newer. He's also a villain. So
Yeah, right. Because he didn't he have like these silver powers, like silver eyes or something? He had something.
I don't remember.
I can't remember. I think
He's
he
newer.
was in the animated series.
I
I
don't know
think.
anything about him outside of him existing because I haven't read any comic with him. I just know he was more recent.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way, short story long. I like the newer
Also, I think they
Cyclops.
retconned Cable to be Scott's son, so that's cool.
Got you. I mean, it's good drama.
Yeah.
You want
Well,
instant
that's all.
drama? Make people
Yeah.
related. Look at soap operas.
Yeah, Cable's the product of Scott and a clone of Jean Grey,
Hell yeah,
who he didn't even know was a clone of Jean Grey. He's just like, she looks like Jean.
bro. That shit
Jean's
is
dead. I miss Jean. I'm
right.
sorry. I'm talking shit about one of my favorite X-Men.
That shit is contrived as fuck, but I'll take it. But he did really well because I liked his attitude and the way he carried
Yeah.
himself.
Okay.
He was a party dickhead kind of boy, whatever, a little
Yeah, he was.
arrogant.
He
But-
loved NSYNC. Who doesn't like NSYNC?
Right?
I mean, wait, hold on. Excuse me.
Yeah, sorry. Let me put away my my Jesse McCarthy album. Um,
Is that his name?
Aaron Carter. Let me put my Aaron Carter album away.
I don't know any of them.
But
I just know the one that wasn't in time. I forget his name sometimes though.
I don't know. Who knows how long ago it's been. But he did really well when he got serious. That's why I liked his shit. When he got
Yeah.
serious, it was fucking sick because it was just,
Didn't
and he also
constantly
wasn't
get
afraid
washed in
to,
those movies.
huh?
Didn't he constantly get washed in those movies?
I don't think so. No, he never really fought anybody till the end.
But like, I think he always lost.
Maybe.
I think
don't
he
know.
only bodied like regular people.
He didn't do anything in the first one, right? Well, second in Apocalypse, he didn't actually do anything.
I was talking about the first trilogy.
Oh, first, I'm
Uh,
yeah, I was still on the second trilogy where I really appreciated
Yeah.
that version of Cyclops because when he got serious, he did cool shit, but he was super like kind of by the book, but kind of
Yeah.
commanding. It was impressive in a way because I didn't like it through the whole movie. I was like, I don't like this little shit. He's kind of annoying. I don't like his little chubby cheeks. I was like, there's just something about him. I don't like it.
Hey, don't
But-
chubby cheeks cheap shame. I have chubby cheeks.
Something about it. Yeah, there was just he didn't seem like. Now listen,
A leader.
to
He didn't
start
look like
the-
he didn't look like a hard ass.
right, he just looked cheesy a little bit. But
Yeah.
when he turned it on towards the end of the movie, I was like, holy shit. He was like, boom, zap that shit. Boom, zap that shit. Jump over here. Boom. And he had this little stern look.
Yeah.
I was all in. I was like, holy shit. This is the
Maybe that's what
Cyclops
they
we're
were trying
talking
to
about.
do. He's a baby boy and he was growing into
growing.
his own. Yeah.
Right. Same thing for
Maybe.
Nightcrawler. I thought Nightcrawler looked so stupid. I was like, God, stop this.
I thought Nightcrawler looked great.
I was like, he's just so stupid looking and cheesy and adorable. And then towards the end, he starts being a badass. And I was like, ooh, I get it now. The only one I liked all the way through was Storm, but Jesus, she was so fucking cool. Since the beginning, she just looked so cool. Like, just had the cool powers.
I'm not a fan of the new Storm.
Really? At all?
I like her more. I like her in Dark Phoenix.
Yes, that's mainly what I'm referring to.
Not so much Apocalypse.
Well,
I think
she
it's
was-
the only two she was in.
Right, yeah, I guess, yeah, that's
Yeah.
only two. Anyone of the kids was only in those two.
Okay.
I think that in Apocalypse, she just wasn't that good because one, she didn't get that much screen time. But
Yeah.
two, they were like, hey, we're doing this with this character. We're going to represent somebody who was misguided. And it just never paid off at all.
Yeah.
It just never,
Right.
like, they introduced her as this, and then I knew, because I know who Storm is. I'm like, oh, cool, that's going to happen. And I think because they knew that we all knew what was going to happen, they didn't have to pay it off on screen. But you're going to rub people the
Yeah.
wrong way if you don't do that. Some people, anyway. I didn't mind it,
Agreed.
but I can see what you're saying, where it's like, this shit just never come to fruition. So, number two,
She
she's
didn't
just
do
here.
it. She didn't like. She barely said anything in that movie.
Right.
Uh,
No, I can see that. But, yeah, I think
I'm a
she was
big
cool.
Storm fan. I like Storm a lot.
Oh, she's one of my favorites, dude. I was so pissed in the original. Back to the original trilogy. Good, we're gonna wrap it back in.
Yeah, there you go.
In the original she got progressively worse and worse and worse as the movies went on to me.
Yeah.
Just because in number one, and this is what I want to talk about specifically about number one, is it really was an X-Men movie. It was a superhero movie. It was an X-Men movie. It was just sick. And I started to think about the fact that might not necessarily be an air quotes good movie. And I want to talk about all three movies in succession and kind of different things about like what they did together and how I think they change things from movie to movie to like make the audience more happy. Because in number one, if you took everything that was X-Men out of that movie, the plot line kind of sucks or maybe non-existent, right? You can try and contrive some things in there, but it would be fucking terrible. But because it was X-Men, it was just awesome for anybody who enjoyed it. You know, it was like, oh shit, Wolverine's here, and Sabretooth's here, and Magneto's here, and they're doing cool shit, oh yeah! I didn't care. I was just through the moon because it was my fucking favorite characters. Compared to number two, if you take everything X-Men out of number two, it's still a solid movie.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with X-Men, essentially. You could take all of that shit out, and it's going to be fine. And I was like, was that directly off the back of number one? Because I started to think objectively that number one may not have done that well. Maybe critics gave it a weird... Because this is before the Marvel age. This is before superhero movies were big.
X-Men, they launched it. Well, I mean, you could always say that Spider-Man or the Batman and Superman movies did it, but they were like failing towards the. They were failing towards the end. But the X-Men movie, the Blade movie, what was it? Blade, 1998.
Yeah.
Blade, X-Men, and the fucking 1-2-3 punch.
Spawn.
I know it's one. I know the saying is 1-2 punch, but it's more like a 1-2-3 punch with Blade, X-Men, Spider-Man, the trifecta, if you will.
I would say Spawn too.
Spawn was later. I think it was 2003.
Oh, okay. But yeah, no, it did though. It was just awesome. And I think that because it was popular and they wanted to make more money and reach a broader audience, they put a lot of just regular action movie stuff into the second one. Yeah. And I think number two is not my least favorite.
They got more budget. They got more budget. That's another thing.
Which is weird. Also, you got more budget and took out like X-Men stuff.
Well, because it was still making money. Like they were like, oh, that was a crap. Oh, like the producers were like, oh, that was a crap movie, but for some odd reason it made a bunch of money. Maybe this X-Men thing is probably why it's making money. Let's just give them more money so they can put more X-Men in it. Yeah.
Well, then the directors or whoever producers took over and said, well, make sure we do it this way. We can't fail. If you're going to use our money,
just give them a bunch of money, and then they used it wisely rather than just using it how the producers told them to use it. Probably. I don't know. I'm speculating.
I think it might be the opposite, because I'm not saying it was a bad movie by any means, but it looked like there was a lot of regular influence. It was a lot of, oh, you need to have these things. Look at these action things. Look at this. Make it more like this. And they took influences from other regular action movies, which is why I say you could take everything X-Men out of that movie, and it'd still be there. You would even have a plot and everything. Versus number one, it couldn't survive. It wouldn't have been a movie without X-Men related things. And then if you look at number three, and this is my assumption, I don't know the actual ratings, I would imagine after the backlash of number two from people who wanted X-Men related things, number three is X-Men out the wazoo. Number three is fucking just mutant.
I don't think there was any
backlash
X-Men for number two.
Huh?
People loved number two. There's no backlash.
I see. Well, then maybe it was just behind the scenes. Maybe they thought about it. I don't know. That's why I say it's hard. The trend looks like it's there. Like on paper, it looks like these things happened. But then you look at critical acclaim or media success or whatever, and it doesn't seem like there was a direct correlation. But it does feel like it went from all about mutants and X-Men to, oh, it's popular. Give us more of a regular thing to be safe. And then it was like, oh, shit. Go back to the X-Men thing. People want that. And then it was all over the top X-Men shit. And the number three was all about mutants and wild.
I think three was they were trying to do what they did with two, but incorporate more X-Men stuff. So they just bit off more than they could chew.
Maybe.
Instead of making a slower transition that way, they just.
Right, and we don't know too what the direction was, because obviously I did hear stories about the direction was supposed to not be focused on Wolverine as much.
Also, a lot of actors weren't like involved in a bunch of franchises back then, so you don't know how their contracts were, and like some of them probably wanted to leave, and that's probably why they were killing off so many characters.
That's possible. Yeah, that's also possible. There's a lot that plays into older movies like that. It's much more, I guess, viewable in today's media. Yeah, it's much easier to see.
I'll say the MCU's everyone's got like an 8-year contract, or not. It's based on number of movies or something. I remember it's like, oh, you have a 6-movie contract with like three cameos, and oh my god, like so many other things in their contracts. And then breaking their contract usually involves like a bunch of them paying a bunch of money to the studio, so they don't want to do that.
Right. One thing I will say, like about I guess the first three that I did really enjoy, and that I loved as a 3-movie piece, because I'm looking at them as a 3-movie piece here. Is about the idea of this beginning of the discussion. Is that the transitions from 1 to 2 to 3 were phenomenal. I felt like I was watching a TV show, and it was the next episode, from the ending of 1 to 2 to the beginning of 3. I was just like, holy shit! It's super immersive, and that's just something I think you don't often get in trilogies.
Yeah.
I guess Star Wars, obviously, and there's some names that jump out as like, yeah, well, they did that. It's like, well, that's not to say, it's impossible and never before seen. But then when you bring up other really fucking good trilogies,
Mhm.
it makes the point for it. It's like, well, this thing did that, and not a lot of movies. Well, this one did. Yes, one of the biggest blockbusters that ever made. Sure, thanks for comparing it to this. What I'm trying to boost this movie up. People use that oftentimes as an argument against something or whatever. It's just stupid. It's like, well, that's the whole point. Is that this is also something that did that succeeded. Meaning this is a good thing to do. It's more movies should engage in this behavior. But anyway, yeah, I thought that was really awesome. And one thing I liked as well, and this is why I say I think they had to have had such good writing since the beginning, or at least they had a plan. Because if you look at number 1, there's a war coming. There's a war coming. That's all fucking Magneto was talking about. There's a war, and I'm gonna fucking start it. And then it was like, no, what the fuck? You're a bad guy. We don't start the wars. And then they fix it because he's the bad guy, and you expected that, and the movie tied up nicely. Number 2, oh shit, they attacked us. They're provoking a war. They kidnapped our kids. This is a big deal.
Yeah.
But it's okay. We're going to talk to the president, blah, blah, blah.
Magneto was right.
Well, he wasn't right yet. That's the thing. It was like Charles was like, okay.
Magneto was. Just a little bit.
That's the
point,
He
said there's a war coming, and then like...
Then they got attacked. And then it was like, see, there's the aggression. And then Charles was like, no, it's okay, blah, blah, blah. We fixed it. We talked to the president at the end of it. They were being controlled. He didn't know what Stryker was doing. See, it's not a war. Then the third one, oh, hell breaks loose.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's exactly what the fuck has been. But it's funny because it's on
both sides. How did the conflict
sides.
start in 3? I can't remember.
In 3,
I remember
it started with the vaccine.
Okay.
Oh, can't use that word.
The vaccine was made, and a lot of people were like getting mad about it because they were like, "We're not." I remember the Storm being like, "We don't need to be cured."
Right. It was a big deal, yeah. Because and it's funny to see. I love that when Rogue was like, she was so happy, dude. She turned the corner. Is it true? And you could see like the fucking just happiness on her face, and I was just like, God. Damn
she murders people when she touches them. So yeah, I would imagine she wants to get rid of it.
And I'm not saying it was like a bad thing. It was good because you could just see the dichotomy of the mutant community right there, like in between those two actors, and I was like, holy shit. It was really good, and then then the fucking fight breaks out.
Like Storm's power is awesome because she can become she's like a goddess who can fucking summon storms.
Fucking weather god.
Rogue accidentally touches a boy and she fucking kills him.
Right. One of them definitely got the shorter end of the stick.
No, always how her powers were. I don't think her powers were like that in the comics.
Rogue?
I'm pretty sure her power only works on mutants.
I think so. Yeah. Well, she took them. Yeah, but I don't think she killed them either.
Well, in that movie, she basically was draining their life force, and that's how she drains their power.
Right. There was a little bit of a different
works in the movie. It's like a really weird, So they're trying to make her more tragic, rather than being like a bubbly Southern girl.
Right.
Yeah.
I loved it. I like my bubbly. Let's come on and do it, y'all. Woo. But yeah, her and Gambit. Oh yeah, that was the best. That was the best romance. I ship it. I think you can't ship it because it already exists, but still.
He's too much of a bad boy.
That's what makes it so good because she's like a bad country bitch. She's a strong, independent woman who don't need no man. But he's a bad boy. So she knows better, but she's like, ooh, I kind of like it, and he's like, yeah, you do like it, and it's like fucking perfect. Those two chemistry is like perfect. I think it's shit like that that's super good.
Unfortunately, you can see it in the big screen. Maybe we see it in MCU.
So back to that was the side tangent of the other tangent. So back to the movies, how they were done, the characters. Cyclops was really good.
Storm was really good in the first one, but then you felt like she was not as good towards the end.
Rogue. Well, number 2. I think now we can dive in. I guess let me see. I covered kind of mainly my thoughts on the progression of the first 3, what the characters did. The whole war, how like this analogy of the war progressed really well throughout the trilogy, and so them 3 as a whole, I think the trilogy as a whole is, I think, pretty much covered. And then I think diving into number 1, I wasn't too happy with Rogue in number 1 because she was just.
I thought she was the strong in number 1.
In number 1, I didn't like the drama.
Okay.
I wasn't a bit. The movie starts with like teenage love drama, and I'm not a
I
big
mean,
fan
she's
of
making
that.
out with her boyfriend, and then she kisses him, and then he fucking
He
like life force
dies. No, he didn't
turns
die, but he had
into
like
a
a
zombie or
coma.
whatever.
Um,
He might have died. I don't know. They
well, they
didn't
say he was
confirm.
in a coma.
Oh,
I don't know if we
yeah.
figured that out. But I wasn't a
Maybe he
big fan of
died.
that part. But then it goes in like Wolverine doing cool stuff, and they're on the run. I was like, oh, I like this part. And then it turns into her and Bobby, and I'm like, oh no, Bobby was number 2, right? Yeah. No,
Yeah,
she,
Bobby was in number 1. He
she
just
met
they
him in
didn't
number
start
1,
dating.
right?
Yeah, they didn't start dating till 2.
But they had some
I think.
teenage things in there. I wasn't a big fan of those teenage things, the little hints.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
everything else I just fucking loved. So I think her as a character in that movie, she had cool moments, and I think she was fine. And I don't think
Yeah.
she was a damsel in distress, but I think she was the center of this drama. And I wasn't
Yeah.
a big fan of that drama because the movie itself was so fucking hype. Magneto's doing bad guy. It didn't fit to me. Magneto's doing bad guy stuff. Go do X-Men stuff. Like, I wanted that more so. Like, the whole entire cool fight scenes at the end where Storm's fighting fucking Toad and all that shit's happening. Mystique's there. Wolverine busting out and fighting people. That was cool. All that stuff was super awesome. So all of her drama points were not lost to me. They were interesting and they were fine, but I didn't like them as much. And that's not to say they were bad. I think objectively they were fine. But as a person, I guess this is a personal, ignore it for actual getting opinions, but it's my own personal take, was I don't really care for the drama, which is why number 2 was probably the weakest one for me. To move into number 2
Right.
was that I didn't like her and Bobby's stuff. I didn't like a lot of the drama stuff. I didn't like a lot of what the movie even offered. But then I thought about why. I was like, what's the problem with that movie? And after I watched it, I did some thinking. I was like, the problem with that movie was nothing fucking happened. I think we talked about this. I think
2? Really?
yeah, and number 2, when I say nothing fucking happened, let me explain. And number 2, a lot of the character development didn't happen,
Yeah.
or like while the plot was progressing.
Yeah.
A lot of things were at a standstill while we were waiting for things to happen, and it felt weird. It feels weird to say that because that's kind of the definition of all movies. But like when they went to, like in the beginning, Nightcrawler's doing crazy shit. He's fucking attacking the president. That involves the president, it involves the X-Men, it involves the bad guys who are controlling him, it involves everybody. It's progressing so many plot lines, it's very integral to everything. Even though it's happening in one location at one time. And then moving on to the next bit, it goes over, the mutants and stuff, what they're doing. That's perfectly okay to have that self-contained. It goes over to, I think, Magneto, what he's doing. Kind of sets the stage, that's fine. And then after the stage was set, a lot of what they did was very self-contained. Like when they go to Boston to find Nightcrawler, that didn't have anything to do really with anything. They knew they wanted to get a hold of him because they wanted to ask him about the president thing. Like there was a reason why they went there, but that entire thing didn't really do anything. The whole scene, the whole of them going to get him didn't really progress anything or do much. Then on the other side of that, when Bobby's doing his whole romantic shit with Rogue and all that, and they're doing the ice skating outside. No, Kitty was doing that, and she was super jealous. That was number 3. I lied. Number 2, fuck, they had emotional shit in number 2 at some point. Logan's whole thing, Logan's entire thing where he went to Alkali Lake and did all that. I think the only reason that scene was in there was so at the end of the movie he could say, well, I've been to Alkali Lake. There was nothing there. You didn't go under. Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah,
that scene was completely unnecessary, and that didn't need to be in the movie.
Go down there. Okay.
I didn't think they needed to be in there at all. I think if they would have just said, this is Alkali Lake, it's where the bad guys are.
Yeah.
Fuck it, cool. That's where the bad guys are. And then when they get there, Wolverine finds out that's where his shit happened. It's like, oh shit. The plot just got deep as fuck. I didn't expect this to be tied to Wolverine. But you would see hints of that when Stryker showed up at the mansion. So that would be cooler to build on that. The fact that we're going back to Alkali Lake at the end of the movie makes it almost in a way less suspenseful.
Yeah.
But that's just a nitpick. But I think overall, when they were going to what do you call it? Magneto getting broken out.
Yeah.
That didn't really do anything. While that's happening, you don't know why that's happening. You don't know where is that progressing the story. Why is that significant? What is that doing? I fucking love that scene. That was one of my favorite set of scenes.
Out? I don't remember.
I don't know why he got out. I don't know what purpose. And obviously, Mystique's just trying to get him out because that's her fucking dude,
Yeah.
That's cool. You're just trying to save your friend. But from a story standpoint, I can't remember what it tied into. Like, why? I obviously he was tied to Stryker. He was the one who was, he told Magneto or told Stryker all about the mansion because he was under mind control. Yeah. So he made sense to be an integral part of the plot in that sense, but his breakout didn't necessarily. So it just felt weird. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm not saying it was so disjointed it was hard to follow. Nothing like that. These are not major complaints, but these are things I noticed that should be explored. Of a lot of times it felt like nothing was moving when these things were happening. So like when they did the whole thing to Boston, right? When they were like, oh, after he kidnapped all the kids from the school, that also felt really weird. You don't know why he's kidnapping all those kids. You don't even know what the fuck he's doing there. I don't think at that point. You knew something about Cerebro, but you didn't know anything else. So it was like he just kidnapped a bunch of kids. And like by this time that scene's over, I didn't know where that was going, in a way. And then when they go to Boston, to Bobby's house, and this is the biggest offender that led me to start thinking about all these other scenes as it meant, because that scene was Wolverine's meeting with Stryker. Him going to the mansion and everything, the only part that mattered in that whole fucking thing that was relevant to the entirety of the plot as a whole and progressed it in some direction was him meeting Stryker. That was about it. When you think about them going to fucking Bobby's place, the only big thing for that was showing the pyro dude's John. I think John, such a stiff name.
John?
Yeah, his name was John. To be like Pyro, I'm a bad guy. His very stiff name. Maybe that's why he was angry.
Is Pyro. His name's Pyro. I don't know his
actual name was John. It's fucking hilarious. Yeah. But yeah, so to show him becoming a bad guy, to show the racism of mutants, to show Bobby's parents and his drama, to show the on-the-nose hate that they had.
His brother called the cops.
Yeah, his brother called the cops because he hates mutants and he wanted them to die, I guess. I don't know. They don't really explain why his brother did that. Like,
so weird. That movie is like,
really weird.
Yeah.
The emotional stuff, all the emotional bits.
Family wouldn't do that. I don't know.
The teenage drama. That's the bits I don't like about number 2, and there was a lot of teenage drama bits. But this entire plot part, when they go to Boston, had nothing to do with the plot. It didn't. When you finished that scene, nothing had progressed. But what progressed in all of these scenes I'm bringing up were characters. The characters were developed in these scenes. And so I don't think they're useless or terrible or bad scenes, but normally I think in a better movie
good.
Or a more well-done movie, the characters progress while the action takes place. It's like you're on a car chase, and the car chase is relevant to the plot that's progressing things forward, but then when the car chase is done...
I feel like it's a really good movie, but I feel like I like the intimate, close scenes where people talk to each other, and then it's not like something is like learned about their character.
That's fine.
Like,
those are fine.
Yeah, I will say that the way it's shot made it kind of dull. A lot of the conversations, but
well, that too. But they were taking trips. I guess they were changing locations, changing scenes. They went to an entire location of the country.
Colossus was the number 2, right? He just didn't get like any lines.
He was cool, but he didn't get that much lines.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but like when they went to this whole thing, I'm thinking it's going to be relevant, right?
Yeah.
To like what's going on. Like they're going to go here and they're going to meet. Well, they did eventually. I think they eventually meet Magneto, but I would have expected
Professor X doing a number 2. I can't remember.
Charles?
Yeah.
He got kidnapped. He got kidnapped in the very beginning. He went to go meet Eric, and then he got kidnapped. So did Cyclops. That's why they were out of the movie for most of it.
Yeah. Unfortunate.
Right. But I think a lot of those scenes, it just nothing else
Wolverine
happened.
And friends.
Like
a road trip.
Right. Then literally though, they had this road trip, and because they literally hopped in, he was like, "Yeah, I play the music around here or something," and they were just having a road trip. And
was
the whole
number
time,
2 the one with the NSYNC with the NSYNC thing? Oh, it was number 2. I thought it was number 1.
Yeah, I get nervous in car rides.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they have this.
The 3 teenagers. Yeah. Okay.
So they have this road trip, but the road trip didn't mean anything to the plot.
No.
They weren't going anywhere plot related. So I'm cool with this.
No, they're taking off, and then
Imagine you're going there, but you're not going to Bobby's house, which is completely unimportant to the plot, except for his character.
They're going there to hide out. Yeah.
But it was mainly for his character development. You could have written that in different ways. The whole thing was for his character development and the development of John into the hate between mutants. They were trying to show these different things.
Yeah, but I thought like the reason the characters were going were to hide there.
Yes.
Okay.
But I guess you could have hid other places. I don't know. It didn't.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah.
Well, they said, oh well, where were Storm and Jean? Well, they were getting that Nightcrawler guy in Boston. hey, my family lives close to Boston. It felt contrived a little bit.
I don't know. I felt like that felt kind of natural to me.
I didn't like
Uh,
it. I think it was. I don't think it was that good because it
but
didn't.
if they're going to Jean and Storm, then that's a natural stopping point. If he had a family there, I feel like that's not contrived.
Maybe when I say that, it's that. How do I say it? It's sort of that when we talk about like realism is boring. That's why stories are always so fantastical.
Yeah,
I'm giving it that lens, I guess, because what you're saying is true. That realistically, sure, all of that makes sense.
yeah.
But from like I guess a movie standpoint, it would have been a little bit better if it had done something to progress everything at the same time. I think a lot of good movies always have that happening. Like those
They
intimate
do.
moments you're talking about, the intimate moment between Han and Leia, I think it was in number 3 at the Battle of Hoth,
Yeah,
maybe, that they had that moment in the beginning of this entire battle of like Hoth. That's a
it was at
big
the
deal.
end.
They had their moment, but the whole shit is going on around them that kept it
It was at the
moving.
end.
I was at the end, okay. Um, but things are usually moving while plot lines are happening, I guess.
Yeah,
Um, and it didn't
yeah.
feel like things were moving in a lot of that movie.
It creates tension. That's the reason why. But yeah, the cops show up, so that there's your tension. It just took a little while. He just had to talk to his parents for a minute, and it's like they gave you this false sense of, oh, they're safe finally, and then like the cops show up. Now there's tension again, and
I
then
just never thought they were
fucking
safe,
pyro
I
lost again.
guess. I mean,
Uh,
not even a couple minutes in, the tension was already like there, I guess. Like as soon as they get
they
there.
weren't in danger, is what I mean. There was tension, but there wasn't like they were in danger of getting killed or fucking having to
Right.
fight for their lives until the cops showed up. And you didn't even know the cops were on their way because yet no one we weren't informed that the kid called the cops.
Right.
Like
Not
if the
until they
kid
showed
called the
up.
cops, we saw that scene, and then we were like, "Dude, get out of there! The cops are coming!" Because it
Right.
creates this. I forgot the word for it, but it creates a sense of tension.
Right.
Like, oh shit, the cops are coming. Like we know something that they don't, that the audience or the characters don't know. It's like the
Right.
bomb
I
under the
guess
table
yeah.
scenario.
Maybe my problem is I guess not expectations, my wants. Maybe it's actually just all perfectly fine. I guess I
Yeah,
wanted more. And maybe this is it. This is more of that what I talk about with number 2. The
yeah,
regular people stuff.
yeah.
If that would have happened in a Jason Bourne movie, which I think it did. I think in one of the ones he got fucked up and went and like was sewing himself up at like his ex-girlfriend's house,
Yeah.
ex-wife maybe. It was beautiful. It was perfect. And then eventually I think shit hits the fan and he has to leave again. But you thought he was safe. That shit is perfect for a regular person movie. I
So
always wanted more fantastical shit.
this is kind of a tangent. How do you feel about that scene compared to the scene in Age of Ultron where they're hiding out in Barton's farm for a minute?
The Barton's Farm thing I felt fine. Because the Barton's Farm thing, they were done, right? It's what we talked about with the pacing of like a Final Fantasy game. The movie had left us in a spot like, oh shit, what the fuck do we do now?
Yeah.
Like, it's over in a way. Like, if they would have just said, fuck it, the movie's over right there, it wouldn't even been that bad. It would have been bad, but it wouldn't have been that bad as you would expect to cut a movie midway through
Yeah.
because of where the plot left you. So when they had a downtime, and then because of that downtime, it gave the characters chance to self-reflect on everything
Hmm.
that had happened because the movie had been so fast-paced. It was the perfect breathing room for what the
Yeah.
movie needed at that time, and it helped play up the tensions between each other. It helped play up the tension between them and the government, between them and the bad guys, between them and their own failures, between them and now a family that you didn't know that some of them had.
Yeah.
All this shit. It was just so integrated. That's the word. It was so integrated to everything that was going on in the movie that technically, even though it was like a side moment, it was still progressing everyone and everything in the world's story at that point. Bobby and his relationship with his family had nothing to do with anything at that point.
It was showing. I know this is already established that the relations between humans and mutants, but
Right.
it was supposed to show. I know what they were trying to go for is to show that like even even family of mutants
Hate
don't
them.
trust them.
Yeah. No,
Um,
and I knew what they were doing with that, and I don't disagree that like they did it fine
yeah.
in that sense. If that's what they were going for, they pulled it off as best they could, I think. But I think if I
Mhm.
would have had to retell it, I would have liked to see it more so as like a gas station or something like that. Or like, because let's say they
Mhm.
were going somewhere to meet them, and then they see some shit happen, and like they get treated super fucking poorly on the road or whatever, and or something pops off on the road and there's tension or whatever, and then the interpersonal relationships between each other start to play up. Like, for example, Pyro, he ends up being a dickhead to somebody and then causes a fight when they're already on the run. Now they're on the run on the run, or like something, but it has relevance because you would say, oh well, how is a gas station or some random public area less relevant than Bobby's family? It's because Bobby's family it's too important to be random, but not important enough to be important. I think that's where I sit with it. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about his stupid family. Like, that just get us out of here. Go back to the action. All hell just broke loose. They just kidnapped. What about the kids? What about Storm and them? What about fucking Magneto and them? What about all this other shit? Now you're just bringing up his fucking family? It didn't progress any of the other shit. So if the scene was a little bit shorter and it was in more of a public area, I don't feel the disconnect between, oh shit, they're going to meet Storm and them, or whatever. It's like they're going here to do this. And then maybe they meet Magneto on the way or something, because he got introduced, I think, later somehow. I can't remember. He saved them when they were crashing. Yeah. So he gets introduced in somehow, right? So you're leaving and you introduce yourself into Magneto. Let's say he actually saves you from the cops and the bullshit that Pyro starts at this gas station or whatever public area. And then you run off with Magneto and then you tell Storm, hey, meet us here or whatever. Because he couldn't get a hold of them until that point. So then now you've moved all these characters and all these things forward, while also progressing the hate between humans and mutants, also progressing John's character as a bad guy. Because Magneto saves them. That would be even better if Magneto is the one who saved them, and then that makes him idolize Magneto even more. That's what I mean when I say it was bad, or like it didn't move the story anywhere, or when I felt like it was just unnecessary.
It didn't move the plot enough.
Right, and the things that they tried to move. When I say contrived, it was like the Bobby's family thing is what I was referring to specifically. I was like, yeah, his family doesn't fuck him. We didn't even know he had a family until now. We assume that everyone has a family. But, everyone comes from somewhere. You're not born from thin air, but, we didn't care or know about them. So to introduce them, to immediately remove them and kind of turn them into a plot device, they're too important. I think that's the issue I have with
they were trying to make Bobby more of a main character.
Possibly, yeah, because he did come back with a pretty big role in number 3. Him and Rogue, their romance shit in number 3, which I'm not a big fan of, took a lot of spotlight. So I think, I saw a little bit of flaws with that scene, couple scenes, and that led me to look back on the attack on the mansion. The attack on the mansion didn't do anything because the kids weren't important. I'm sorry, him kidnapping the kids was not important. They tried to make that have leverage. It wasn't important. Him kidnapping Charles was important. The kids. Not so much.
Kids are important, Trey.
No.
They're the future of the mutants.
I don't give a fuck. Those kids were not important to the plot at all. They even saved them. Like, it was technically on screen, but it wasn't enough screen time.
Immediately after, yeah. A lot of them got away. So, wait, did they all get away? Or just
no,
a lot of them?
He kidnapped, I think 9 of them. It looked like it was a lot more, but in the cages, you only saw, 9 or 10. Yeah. If I remember right. But, they eventually saved them. I think they teleported them out in Nightcrawler. I don't know what happened, but they got saved in some random thing at the very end. But I was just like, those kids didn't matter. So then when I think about if the kids didn't matter, what else mattered from that entire thing? It was an entire scene to show you that Wolverine had relations with this guy. I mean, it was a long scene, too, 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes of shit for Wolverine's character development. It was another 5-10 minutes for, what's his name? For fucking Pyro and the racism progression and those sentiments. You just spent all this time to show that sentiment without showing me anything else. That's why I was not a big fan of a lot of the scenes in that movie. It was like, we need to show this. And they would, instead of putting that into something in motion, it's like the film was on hold while we went and showed that. Or the story was on hold. It was like the story was on hold while we're showing you these sentiments or showing you this character progression. And it's like, technically that's not true because them kidnapping the kids and Stryker invading was what led them to go after him, which progressed the plot. But in some sense, I think we can understand what I'm saying. But
yeah, you're saying meta-wise that the kids being kidnapped didn't feel as important as it should have.
Right. The attack on the whole thing didn't feel as important as the whole point seemed to be. Wolverine knows this guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, you could have done that many different ways. But I think the movie's fine. If to skip to the end about ratings, the movie was fine. I'm not going to give you a number yet because that's the spoiler at the end. But then, go ahead. Do you have anything? I guess because I was going to move into number 3, but I didn't want to. I talk a lot.
3. I would say, how do you feel about Riker?
Riker? Who's Riker?
Not Riker. What was his
Stryker?
name? Stryker. There you go.
Yeah, we didn't talk about him, did we?
No.
He was great.
We mentioned him in passing about talking about different plot points, but we didn't.
No, I thought he was good. I don't know if I like him as the sleazy fat guy, but I think he was good overall. I loved him just because he is Stryker. He is the
He
bad
seems
guy we
very
all
menacing. He
expect.
seems like, cause he's just, yeah, he's a fucking very imposing for a human as
Right.
well. The way he talks to Wolverine is really,
Oh yeah.
really,
His
yeah,
acting,
yeah.
dude, smooth.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I liked him a lot as his acting as Stryker, because
Yeah,
he really pulled it off. Because he was an arrogant dickhead, but he wasn't the I'm a hot guy arrogant dickhead.
yeah,
He just really was like this smooth arrogant dickhead. Like the way he, like you said, he was very commanding when he spoke. It was
yeah.
imposing. It was like it wasn't loud even. It wasn't loud. He didn't sound arrogant. He would just say things matter of factly. Like it was wild. Yeah, I can't even describe it. Like how good he delivered his lines.
Oh yeah, his son too. We haven't talked about his son.
I
Was
thought
it
it
his
was
son?
good.
Yeah,
I think it
dude in
wasn't
the
it
wheelchair.
wasn't that good. Um,
Yeah,
but it was good for what he did to be a plot point. He was interesting
yeah.
enough. It
It was
was
a
fine.
device. Like he was literally just a fucking way for Stryker to have power, right?
Right.
Because
I liked what
yeah,
they did with him and Charles though. I really
yeah,
did. I liked it, and that gave Charles more screen time, which he's one of my favorite characters in all of X-Men. If people didn't know, and it gave him a lot more. You know, he was like, I'm not gonna fix your son, blah blah blah. You gave him. He was like, you were supposed to do this, and it was like, damn. You know what? There it is. It's about Stryker. He never showed emotion.
yeah,
It was like he was mad, but he wasn't mad. He talked about things that you would think of somebody to be mad about, but he never seemed like it. He just seemed like very cold, calculating, matter of factly, like, yeah, and we're gonna kill all the mutants and this, or we're doing this, or Mr. President, this and this, or whatever. He was very like stern. I don't know, good shit. But yeah, him and Charles's
hmm
back and forth was great. He was like, I can't fix your child. There's nothing wrong with him. And then he was like, you know, he fucking made his mom commit suicide. That's crazy.
yeah,
That's fucked up. So in his
yeah.
brain, yeah, there's something wrong with this kid. Like, it's not the problem that he has power. I don't even think Stryker hated him because he had powers. He hated him because he did that, and he saw the dangers of people with those powers who were mentally unstable. Like he saw
Yeah.
what someone could do if they
It
didn't
was a
like
very
you.
believable villain in
Right?
that way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was good. And then when he was controlling like the how he just didn't care. When he would put that goo on the back of X-23's neck and was just like, yeah, they just need to be a little controlled. And there it is again.
That X-23? That wasn't X-23, was it?
I think it was. Yeah, it was her. She had the nails.
Oh.
She had the thing. She had the black hair. She was a Wolver. She was after Wolverine. Um, it can be Googled. You can Google it, I guess, what the official name
Yeah, I'm about
was.
to.
Um,
Yeah. I don't think she's. I think. Maybe.
it was like when he was about to laugh, he didn't.
Lady Deathstrike is her name.
Lady Deathstrike. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
anything because his daughters are well. She's been retconned to be a bunch of different things, but in the Foxverse, X-23's is like daughter.
okay, that's the one
sort of.
from Logan.
That's the Logan. Yeah, Logan.
Gotcha,
The girl from
gotcha.
Logan.
Um,
Yeah.
Lady Deathstrike. I've heard that name before, so it's not unfamiliar. I just don't
Yeah,
remember.
I've heard it before.
Right. But so yeah, I guess regardless, I guess I didn't. Yeah, Lady Deathstrike, whoever the fuck it was, she did a fine job, or as just a
Yeah.
bad guy. She wasn't. I wish she was a little bit more interesting. We could have got more. There's not enough time in the movie. Let's be honest. But
Yeah.
maybe it would have been cool. But yeah, when he went to like control her, it was like he was gonna laugh about it. He was like, they just need a little persuasion, and I was like, yeah, do your evil laugh, and he just never did. he just kept on. It was crazy,
Yeah.
and that's what made him, I guess, compelling. Is it was like. He's not laughing, but you think he would. He's not angry, but you think he'd be angry. It was like you couldn't get a read on him sometimes. Good bad guy. But now that
Yeah.
I'm done sucking that dude's dick, anything else?
No, I think that's everyone in two.
Right. Oh, before we
I
leave
feel
too.
like, oh, well, fucking what? Hold on, Jean Grey's death was stupid in two.
Yes, extremely. Extremely.
She could have got on the plane and used her powers on
Right.
the water.
What
Come
good
on.
reason did she have that she couldn't lift it? Like, now maybe you could say, well, she's. Think about this. She's only ever lifted things. Let's say if you're a telekinetic dude, you lift up a TV, you lift a ball, you lift an arrow. It's all in front of you, and you can see the entire thing. Think of like putting hands on an object.
Yeah.
If her brain was trained in that way, she can't see the outside of the plane. Therefore, she can't contextualize or visualize grabbing it, if that makes sense. Because you can't grab it from the inside with, I guess, the way this explanation. I'm giving it a pass. I'm trying to anyway. But you wouldn't be able to grab it from the inside with the way that those powers would be developed in that way. You grab things with your mind. Kind of like, was it Elfenlied, where she had hands?
Yeah.
Kind of like I
Invisible
picture it
hands.
similar to that. Not actually that they are hands. It's telekinetic powers. It's unlimited. But
Yeah.
maybe she developed them as a young age with the idea that I'm grabbing something and moving it. So that was difficult
Yeah.
for her to
Okay.
conceptualize from inside the plane.
I got you.
I'll give her that. That's the only part I'll give her. But then the idea that her powers just ran out once they were gone, that she couldn't swim or put some sort of protective kinetic barrier between her and the water as she floated downstream, or nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. You had all that.
Or
Nothing.
she just. I was like, 'cause, like they don't. I don't think they confirmed that she died. I think she just like got knocked out, and then her powers awoke. Her Phoenix powers or whatever.
That's true. The end of the
Um,
movie, it was under that same bit of water, and you see the little phoenix silhouette. So
Yeah.
she did kind of. Maybe she did do that. She put a little. She put a little barrier between her, and then the unlocked powers came out, and then she came back. Makes
Yeah.
sense. Okay, maybe it checks out. It checks out. So I think maybe
Yeah.
all of it checks out. Maybe actually it's all perfectly fine. She didn't die, so the whole why the fuck would she die? She's too strong for that makes sense. And then if you want to conceptualize her powers in that way, which you don't have to, it's headcanon, that would explain why she couldn't have done it from inside the ship. So sure, I'll give it a pass. I'm still not happy with it.
Yeah.
It just came out of nowhere, super
You go move on.
anticlimactic.
I can move on to 3. Yeah.
Number 3 was fucking great. Just because it was an action. It was just
Really?
X-Men action. I don't give
Oh
a fuck.
my god.
If we didn't do if we didn't discuss the movie at all and it was like, give me your thoughts. It was cool X-Men action. I love it. Nothing else. I don't give a fuck. What about the plot? Who cares? It had Hank. They brought Hank. Dude, I give a fuck. I got
Oh yeah, he
Beast.
didn't show up till the 3rd one, did he? I remember being super excited when they finally saw Hank. I said,
Yeah. You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. I was over the moon. Like, yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
what I say. That was fan service the movie. I don't give a fuck if it was good. Like, no, we're gonna get into more detail, but yes, my immediate knee-jerk reaction is fuck that. That was fan service the movie. I loved every minute of it.
I was a little too upset that Scott just died immediately.
I'm not a big Scott fanboy, and I wasn't a big, and I think because of those movies, how they did him previously, I didn't give a fuck because the movies did him so injustice in the first two. So that's not fair to Scott as a character or the actor, but definitely I didn't care about him by that
The
point.
actor did his best with what he had.
Right.
He was
I
an
also-
emotional. He was an emotional bitch. That's what he do. That's what they wrote him as.
Right. And you know what's funny? I forgot to mention this earlier. Back to when I was like, yeah, the younger fucking Cyclops.
Scott. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I didn't like his little chubby cheeks and his little face. But then I thought about the adult Cyclops from the first 3. His cheekbones are so narrow and so like sunk in. He looked a little weak in the face. Now, I'm not saying that's not a super handsome, attractive chin, but Cyclops to me has a very strong chin. I picture him as a very square, wider, kind of like, we're doing this, you know.
Yeah.
And I think he had those sunk in kind of little niblets.
He had very
diblets.
masculine features. I don't know.
Huh?
Thought he had very masculine features, but
I don't know. It's hard. They're pointy.
yeah.
His chin was very pointy. He had the little divots in it, and it looked very like not sunken. Is maybe isn't the right word, but kind of. The divots made it look different. Whereas if you look at like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of anybody, but I can't. Doesn't come to mind.
Ryan
Someone like
Reynolds.
Green Lantern, Deadpool. That fucker, super hot boy.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds. Yeah, look at his chin. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I was so lost in thought I didn't even fucking catch that. But yeah, look at that. That's a very full, squarish. It's not very angular, and I think that Cyclops to me has that image in my head. And since
I
we
thought
always
James
got
Marsden
him,
was fine the way he looked as Cyclops, honestly. But
gotcha. Fair enough. And it could have been the acting that made me. Maybe I'm putting the face with the acting,
maybe.
and maybe
I would
that's
say
like-
that Ryan Reynolds would be the Ryan Reynolds face would be a better one.
yes, but he wouldn't be a good Cyclops. No, I'm not saying that. No, definitely not putting him in the role. I think that the actor was great for the role they put him in. I don't like how they told him to act or how they wrote him, but I definitely think that Ryan Reynolds' face might have been a better Cyclops.
Leave like Keanu Reeves. That's my personal pick. I want him to do an old Cyclops.
No, I would like to see Keanu Reeves more as a Cable.
Yes. Okay.
Because he's grizzled and fucking had that white hair, and oh yeah, I could see that a lot more than I would see Keanu Reeves as a Cyclops.
We already have our Cable though.
It's true. He's pretty good too.
Yeah. He's Thanos.
But what do you call it? Anyway, yeah, number 3, I think so Scott died. That sucked, but I don't know. Yeah, it would have been cool to see him do more stuff.
What was the immediate scene after? Uh,
They went to when she was trying to fuck Wolverine afterwards, and he was like, "You're not right," and she was like,
oh
"You're
right,
not
yeah.
right."
And then they were like measuring her brain pattern and whatever.
Right.
Like,
And then he
uh,
found out, like, then he did the thing about. No, I liked that. And this is again, well, I guess we can compare some things. We'll do a dedicated one to the next trilogy, but I like just to dip into it from now time to time. I liked Wolverine and his relationship with Charles and his relationship between Jean. And he was like, well, sometimes when you cage the beast gets angry. I really appreciated that line in Wolverine's perspective on the situation when it comes to fucking with somebody's memories.
yeah.
I didn't appreciate it in the new trilogy as much with Charles
Mm,
and
Beast.
Raven or Beast, yeah,
Oh, with both of them, I
a
guess.
little bit,
Because
yeah,
it was Mystique, and then she died, so it passed over to Beast. So
right. I didn't like a lot of that. I thought it was a little like, don't care. I
that
also
one
didn't,
felt a little forced with Beast,
right, and
but
I
with
didn't also
Mystique,
like Jean's backstory on that one because literally, it doesn't make sense. Like I get maybe trying to protect or whatever, but the entire trauma of it all. At
yeah,
the very end of the movie, all she does is look 5 seconds into the future and say,
right,
"Oh,
right,
wait, Charles loved me the whole time." No shit, you stupid fuck. Like,
yeah,
I just don't. It took way too long
yeah,
for that. Also, her Phoenix powers was like the Phoenix Force was alive and drifting through space, and these people were following it. The aliens were. We can't do that. That's a whole. And I'm gonna get stuck, and I'm gonna start. We're done. But I
all
didn't. Yeah,
right,
back to
wait,
the relationship between whoever was the third party when
the
it came
original,
to her.
yeah,
Wolverine
yeah.
did a phenomenal job, and his character was meant for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, the way that they laid it out in the second movie with him, with the plot, with his memories being fucking fucked up
Right.
and being experimented on by someone else, definitely lends itself a lot better to being the one to be mad at Charles over fucking with Jean Grey's memories.
Right.
Uh,
And then the
yeah,
reason he did it made more sense,
agreed.
right? And this and the and
Yeah,
that and then that one in the next three, it was because she literally had a split personality. Like
yeah,
she was going nuts. She had a split personality that was all like, was it rage and lust and all this other shit. Like that's not good. You're not supposed to have that. So and obviously, Jean probably talked to him at that point, and she probably mentioned wanting to control it. We didn't get all of that history, but I would imagine Jean knew about it, and to some extent, and she
yeah,
probably wanted help with it. I have no doubt in my mind that Jean probably said, "I need to get rid of this. What do I do about it? I need help. I can't control it." And Charles, being the man that he is, was probably like, "Okay, I can help you." And then he thought he was doing the right thing trying to control it because he assumed with how powerful his mind is, she would never be able to escape.
yeah.
It made sense. All of it made sense. So I think overall the story and how it laid out and how it played out was just better in X3. Um,
Hmm.
but so yeah, that was pretty good. Their relationship was pretty good. So yeah, they leave after that. She dips off, and then we get Magneto. I think getting broken out of prison, which was fucking
Yeah.
awesome. Jesus, man.
Yes, always. Magneto's always so fucking good in these
Right,
movies.
so cool, dude. He fucking like he breaks. Yeah, he was breaking Raven out. Forgot. I guess weird
Gandalf
when I
is,
say Raven. I've watched too much of the new ones, so I keep calling her Raven
yeah,
now. You can
Mystique,
tell which ones
yeah,
I've watched more recently.
yeah, Mystique.
Right. So when he breaks her out, Jesus fucking Christ, dude. When she gets shot with that shit, and he
Yeah,
looks, you're no longer one of us. I'm sorry. And then
and he walked away. Yeah,
God, dude. I couldn't handle that shit. My fucking
I
brain
thought it
was
was
not ready. That
amazing.
shit was so
Ian
good.
McKellen is his name.
Um,
The actor that plays Magneto.
okay.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, no, he did a phenomenal job.
Also Gandalf.
That's true. I like him better as Magneto, to be honest.
I like them as both.
He did a good job as Gandalf, but maybe I'll just like Magneto more. Let's be honest. Maybe that's it.
I love Magneto more. Yeah, Gandalf is kind of lame,
Boring.
but he's just well, yeah. Well, he's a goofball, and it's tangent. That's a big tangent.
Oh yeah, we won't do that.
uh,
We'll dip in that eventually.
uh, well, yeah, we'll talk about Lord of the Rings one day.
Right.
I would literally have to be a whole episode each movie though. That's the
Probably
problem.
yeah. Um.
Probably two parters.
Right. Right. It depends though. I guess it depends. But yeah, no. So I think yeah. So that happens. That was super fucking awesome scene. I didn't
Yeah,
like the bad guys that he picked up at that little convention.
they're
I
very
thought
boring.
I
They're
thought that
very
shit
bland.
was
None of them have
cool.
personalities. They looked cool and they had like cool powers. One of them was
Right.
supposed to be Spike, I think.
I thought
Uh,
so. I wasn't sure. I don't think so because he was Asian. Because Spike was like Storm's nephew, and then like he had big spikes. That guy had little bitty ones, but I think did he make bigger ones by the end of the show? I think so.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. I don't know, but I didn't like how like forced the one chick felt. She had super speed, but then she was like also a telepath or could
I don't
sense
think
mutant
the
powers.
one that you were thinking was Spike. It was a guy who had spikes coming
Yeah,
out
I
of
knew
his
that.
wrist.
I was talking about some another character. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's not
Oh.
the one.
Oh, the one who
There
just
was a-
put spikes out and threw them.
Yeah,
Not the Asian
was
guy with
supposed
the
to be-
spikes in his body.
no, yeah, that was Spike.
Oh, maybe. If so,
Yeah,
just
no,
pretend.
he
I'm gonna
was.
pretend it's
Yeah,
not.
I just looked it up. Yeah, he was supposed to be Spike.
Oh no, get that shit out of here. Trash. No, not in my headcanon. Not in my headcanon, dude. If they don't introduce Spike with his
I didn't
relationship
like
to
his, I
Storm,
didn't like Toad in the movies either, and I like to. Well, I'm only a fan of Toad in the evolution.
animated series.
Yeah, the evolution, not the animated series, the evolution.
Oh,
Because the other one is actually called the animated series. So
right. I like
yeah,
Toad.
X-Men the animated series is the first one. So if you say the
Right.
animated series, that you assume we're talking
Yeah, that's what
about
I meant.
90s.
Yeah, I meant the original. Like I liked
No,
animated series. I like Toad, Blobs, Quicksilver. I liked their little group. I thought
I
they were
think you're
cool.
talking about evolution.
Evolution was when they were teenagers.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the old one.
Okay.
Um.
Most people didn't like those guys until evolution, as well as
Oh, yeah, no, because they were part of the bad guy group. It was it was Magneto, Blob, Toad, Quicksilver, and Scarlet Witch.
yeah.
And they had like a little base of operations. Yeah, Toad was kind of nasty and shitty, but I thought he was kind of funny. Quicksilver was the funniest of their group. He was the most relatable to me when I was a kid. Actually, he was my favorite character in that show. For the longest time was Quicksilver. I can't remember who else took it eventually. But no, when they were teenagers, that was the good shit. That was when fucking I fell in love with Nightcrawler. That was when I was like,
That's
oh,
the good shit.
that was like my fave, dude. When I fell in fucking love with Nightcrawler, the whole shit, Spike. I fucking loved Spike from that shit. It was just all so good. That was one of the best. I gotta go rewatch it, man. That's good shit. It's not on Disney Marvel Plus, is it?
It is.
Oh, cool.
It's on
'Cause
Disney Plus,
I
yes.
seen the
All the-
animated
also-
series. I didn't see Evolution.
It took them a while to get there, but yeah, they have most everything on there now.
Cool. But anyway, so yeah, back to that shit. I'm not calling that Spike. I don't give a fuck. He's a teenage nephew to Storm, and that's the only Spike for me.
There's different continuities.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, so that shit was good. But yeah, I didn't like the one chick. She was like, "I'm super fast, and I can tell you're a level 5 mutant," and it was like, what? Why? How? For what purpose? Like, that was just
that's her gift.
that was
that's
just
her power.
super. Like, is she? But don't make her speedy then. It was like we need to have her do cool stuff in the fights at the end, so make her speedy. But we also
Yeah,
have to
she has
have a
two.
like.
She has multiple powers.
That was a fucking plot device, George. I give a lot of things passes. That was on the nose plot device. I wasn't.
They
happy
had
with
to
that.
let you know he was a level 5 mutant. How were you supposed to know otherwise, Trey?
Clearly. How are they supposed to tell how strong Jean Grey was by comparison unless they do that?
Exactly.
I don't know. I'm not mad that they were trying to bring in the concept of like omega level mutants and shit like that. That's cool. But Jesus, don't make it so plot
don't care.
devicey.
I honestly do not care. I'd rather them just not say it and
Yeah,
just show how powerful he is, and then make Jean do something even fucking crazier. That's
Right.
how you do it.
I'm cool with that. Yeah, no, they didn't
And then
do that in the new
like have
trilogy.
him do something really crazy, like when he lifted the bridge. That was awesome. And
Yes.
then have a bunch of people. I don't know. Stand if you want to have like the shonen, um, um, uh, commentary. Have like a random mutant go, "Whoa, that is so amazing!" Yeah, that's Magneto. He's probably one of the strongest mutants alive.
Right.
And then fucking like literally a couple scenes later, have Jean do something even crazier.
Right.
and then-
I agree
And
with
you don't
that.
need someone. You don't need commentary for Jean because at this point we already heard someone say something about Magneto being crazy,
Right.
powerful. So we don't need someone to say that again about
Right, and
Jean.
Jean's already been established. She's uncontrollable. Even I can't stop her.
Exactly.
Charles said that. It's like shit like
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
I agree. I'm totally okay. Don't give her those stupid powers. Get those stupid plot device powers out of here. Give her the super speed, cool. But the other one needs to go.
Why did they just put Quicksilver in there?
Again, I don't know. Legal issues? Did they own the rights? I don't know. They did.
Yeah, they did. They did.
So yeah, they could have done that, and he would have been on Magneto's side. But then maybe they were scared about not introducing Scarlet Witch yet. I don't know.
Yeah, they're gonna put Scarlet Witch too. Well, fuck his lackeys. His lackeys were shit.
It's true though. I would have liked to see that be. I would have really liked to see that be.
Find Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch as like his long lost kids and be like, oh well then, here you're coming with me.
Right.
Like, that could have added another layer of complexity that would have made the movie even better. But I guess they didn't want to like.
They thought it was too much, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, maybe they didn't want to introduce those characters. Because if you introduce them without a good backstory and like people are gonna get mad, they probably didn't think
put
they
it
had
in
enough time. Because I mean,
Take
you
Angel
go,
out. Fuck
Huh?
Angel. What did Angel do in this movie?
Angel was cool. He was the
He was
progenitor.
cool. He was crazy cool, and I like the scene where he flew. But I mean,
But that's it. He doesn't need anything. No, he doesn't. I don't know. I don't even think he needs anymore because everything he did was so good. It can't
Yeah.
be critiqued, so
Yeah.
I can't say it's bad. But you're right. He didn't air quotes actually get anything, but I think I loved it because he was the symbol for it's okay to be a mutant, but they
Yeah.
didn't put that shit on the nose. I love it. Like it was, he was such an integral part of the plot, but he wasn't, and I'm okay with that. I think he filled a pretty fucking good role, but he didn't get established as a character.
Yeah.
That's
I feel like he
unfortunate.
just
From a
kind of jumped in, like really, like just inserted himself into the plot. Is what it felt like. To me.
right, from a comic book perspective, it feels kind of bad, but from a
Was Kitty important in this movie? I remember she actually started doing stuff in this movie.
she
but-
got a lot of screen time in the drama. She was a lot in the teenage drama with Bobby and Rogue. She was
Oh
Rogue's
right, 'cause
motivation
she
for
was
getting the
dating
vaccine.
Bobby. Was she dating Bobby, or is this just like
Rogue
some
and
kind
Bob,
of like?
Rogue and Bobby have been dating since like the end of the first one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
but
then
I'm saying,
Kitty
like,
showed
was
up.
she, like
No, Kitty was not even trying to go for him, but she
was
was
just
super.
getting. Rogue was just getting get jealous, right?
Yeah, because Kitty was fucked up in the head. She
Yeah.
didn't know how to handle
I
all
guess
this
they were still
shit.
trying to sell it to teenagers and kids, and that's how you get teenagers for sure.
Right. I don't even know if that's true though. As teenagers, I didn't like that shit. Who did? Teenage
Yeah,
women, maybe?
but I mean, producers think that's what teenagers want.
Maybe.
Uh,
Yeah. We never watched any of these shits. We didn't watch,
Some teenage
Degrassi
boys probably
or
do like that stuff.
Victorious,
I don't know.
or maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe it's possible. Now listen, I love a good slice of life, but I don't like the things that are stereotype effeminate or women like mostly.
Yeah,
Because there is a difference. Like liking a slice of life or liking drama and these, in a sense, isn't necessarily inherent to women. I think men like drama, men like things,
I
but
like dramas.
it's how you present it.
Well, I don't like teenage drama. I like actual drama, which it sounds like being a dick, but I mean,
Right. Well,
yeah.
right. Well, that's it, right? When I think about that scene in that movie, I think it's terrible. I'm not
It's
terrible,
like, yeah,
but I'm
it's
like,
teenage drama.
yeah, it's like
So-
it's it's teenage stupid
It
miscommunication.
just hurts. It just hurts inside to watch it. You're just like, or cringe. There you go. You cringe
Right.
when you see it. Yeah.
Because it's not impactful. I think that's
Yeah.
the issue. Those type of dramas, like I said, the teenage drama, and this is maybe you're right. No. Let's not take a full step back. That's why I love these conversations. I can learn things. That's the reason it is teenage drama for men or women. I think that overall, I appreciated it or attributed it more to that women would enjoy it back in the day. But I think maybe you're right. But the difference was, I think a lot of men like us were dumb, but we didn't have that drama, like in our own lives. So we never related to that, even when we were that age. But if you look at the
Yeah.
drama itself, the drama is inconsequential, almost
Yeah.
always. The fact that like Bobby has friend girls and like he's a leader at the school because he is like an omega level mutant. He is a leader in strength and in the team. Like he's very important and he is a role model for a lot of people. And he sees one of his teammates is struggling mentally. He was like, "Hey, let's go ice skating. Let's take outside. Let's do that." Is that an intimate moment? Yes. Is he a stupid kid and doesn't understand what that's going to mean to his girlfriend? Also, yes. But the fact that she was pissed about it is also another thing that I think, well, adult women would do that too. But a lot of it was very much not impactful or important. And that's teenage drama in a nutshell because teenagers need to feel that. And they need to have the sense like, see, they understand. This happened to me at school and it's so important. And then at the end of the story, they need to also see that, it worked out fine. It was never that important to begin with. That's why those stories exist. But I think for me and you, it's like when we see that, it's like, oh, I can look past that. It's not important. It's not enough to carry weight. Because I wanted to compare that to fucking Katara and Aang. That's even less than teenage drama. It's little kid drama. But I was like, then why the fuck was it so compelling? It's because it mattered.
It mattered to the
This
plot.
this
yeah.
wasn't, and that's where this discussion came about, and that's why I say I think I'm learning things. It's because that's the
Yeah.
essence of what drama that we enjoy. It's not about and this is why people say, how do you watch anime? It's all about kids. I'm like, I don't give a fuck if it's about kids. If anything, it makes it more important sometimes because of what they go through. But overall, it's like, no, the drama, it's just because the drama matters. When you watch kid shows or teenage shows, the drama never mattered. It didn't affect things. The fact that Aang was going to have to give up the only family, essentially, he has left. They played with them being together, and they didn't know what that meant because they were still kids, and they didn't know what if girlfriend, boyfriend, love as a family, sister. They didn't know. We didn't know. No one knew. But that's what made it interesting by itself. But then when he had to give all that up to become the Avatar, and he didn't know how to handle that, and he denounced that shit, that was fucking deep. And like, yeah, little shit like that. Even the Teen Titans shit, that literally it says teen in the name. And I would argue that some of their drama is, yes, a little bit air quotes less important. But I think the way that it's delivered and what it means is timeless. And we talked about it before. It's the idea that when Cyborg got his body back, it was like, woo, I love it. She was like, I really preferred the original. And then he got like
Yeah.
sad. He was like, well, this is the
This is the
original.
original. Yeah.
God damn, that fucking hurts. Because
Yeah.
to find, and I think that's almost an allegory too for like growing up in a way. And I'm grasping straws here, but if you want to, because this is what people who literary things do. They grasp. They try and find meaning where sometimes there isn't, and they make it work. Sometimes. But think about the idea that you have friends in a life in high school, and then you grow or college, and then you grow up and you leave those friends behind, and you change, and you wear different clothes, and you have a different job, and you're different, and you find someone who loves you to death, and they're like, "Oh man, you're my fucking favorite. I love you so much." And then you go around to your other friends, or you act more like you did in high school or college, and then it's like, "Yeah, my old friends, see." And then it's like, "Yeah, this is good for me, haha." And then these old friends haven't been there for you for the last 8 years. These old friends and this old attitude and this old life isn't necessarily like who you are anymore. So then your new friends would be like, dog, I mean, I don't know. You were a lot cooler when you didn't look that way and dress that way and act that way and do those things. And it's like, fuck, what do you mean? And then like the identity crisis, shit like that, man. There's so many different things that make that drama impactful. It's not about relationships. It is. It's about the relationship as friends. Fuck. I don't know. I'm trying to find a reason why I can either one, find out why those scenes in X3 were good, or two, find out why I didn't like them compared to other things. And it's hard. Every time I don't want to just use the people always, oh, it's just bad.
Yeah.
That's no excuse. No, there's no it's just bad, because there was nothing wrong with those scenes. But why didn't I care? I think I'd gotten tired of Rogue.
Yeah.
I'd gotten very tired of Rogue as a character and her bullshit over the last 3 movies. How every movie was about not number 2 as much, but number 2 had no number 2 yet. I'd really gotten sick and tired of her fucking drama. I can't even touch my boyfriend. Bitch, I don't care. Fucking Stryker's going to kill all the mutants in the world. Fuck you and your fucking boyfriend. There's the problem. There's the problem. Okay, it's good. Those things are fine. I think I would have actually loved like a relationship love triangle between a leader and his friend girls, and then a relationship that I would have loved all that, and her inability to interact with him in some way for some. Yeah, that would have been a great plot line. But not when the world is ending.
Yeah.
Not when there's other things that are more important, because now I'm going to look at you as less than or unimportant to what I'm really caring about is the fucking end of the world. So like that's why I think that scene's bad. I think overall it's a great scene, because I do have fond memories of it. Like I actually remember seriously like smiling when like he was out there skating with her and you saw her just start smiling, because she wasn't smiling because she wanted to take that man as her boyfriend. She was smiling just because it looked, and this is the actors, but and it's not real, but to me that's what good acting is about. Yes. I felt it. She really was smiling because she was
that's what good acting is
happy.
about for everybody. But yes.
Yeah, she was happy. I was like, holy shit. There was no lust in her eyes. There was no even attraction to Bobby in those eyes at all. It was just, God damn, thank you. You helped me be happy in these moments, and it was just like, holy shit. That was a really good scene for me on their end. And then Rogue came back being all bitchy in the fucking window watching him. And I was like, oh God, here we go again. It was almost like Rogue ruined that. And the reason the reason I feel like Rogue ruined that was because that scene without Rogue was still perfect in that movie. Because without Rogue's stupid drama for her boyfriend, that scene was perfect. Just because the idea that she needed that, and he may have needed that, even though he was the leader and he didn't act like it, that may have been very important for him too. Like, they're fucking still kids. They're still teenagers trying to go through these things. So, like, it meant a lot, I think, for them. But anyway, moving on. The last fight was really fucking cool.
That's crazy.
Magneto's my favorite. Humans in their guns. And he went to lift it, and his eyes got wide. Bro! Oh, that shit was funny.
Yeah, they were like protecting the kid that can.
Yeah,
they were protecting powers,
the cure.
Right?
Magneto was going to kill the kid with the cure.
Yeah.
And then the X-Men were going to protect it.
I don't think they knew that it was a kid with the powers, did they?
I think he knew, yeah.
I thought they were just
because Mystique found all that out. Remember, Mystique broke in to find those documents.
Yeah, okay.
And then he was like, pretty much like, yeah, go in. He told what's it, Juggernaut to kill him. He was like, go kill the kid or something. And Juggernaut was supposed to go do it. And then Kitty went and fought him, which was super cool.
That's cool. It shows how like they're willing to kill a mutant so long. Well, we already knew that they're willing to kill mutants that like are against their specific cause. Like, oh, we only are pro mutants if you're on our side. So
kind of.
that's yeah.
But they don't kill them normally. Um, I think that it's very not. I would say it's very. I don't say it's very rare, but I think it's unlikely because they don't kill the X-Men.
Well,
They fight them. They
I would say
incapacitate them.
they try, but because it's for kids, they're not going to do it.
You think so?
Yeah,
I guess I always read it as like I mean I know him and Charles's relationship,
yeah.
and I
Him and
kind of
Charles have yeah.
I thought that
Yeah.
extended through their battles.
I mean, it could, but I don't. But I don't know. I mean, also Magneto never kills any X-Men that I can think of.
He's never killed Wolverine, and he could snap his neck like a twig.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I just I don't see it. I don't think that even there's malice on their side because he is essentially a religious zealot or a racist zealot. Like he wants all of his people to be whatever. Like I think it makes sense. And he was even willing to turn his back on fucking Mystique. So it was like I think overall, yeah, I don't know. I see it as he doesn't want to kill them. He wants to stop them. He'll definitely, he's always incapacitated them. Think about even in number one. He didn't kill Storm and Cyclops and them. He just
Yeah.
tied them to the Empire State Building and said, "You're gonna have to watch this." Um, what else? I think in number two, I don't think he killed. He wasn't gonna kill anybody in number
That's
two.
no one in first class.
Did he?
Yeah.
That
He
was that
killed
was young Magneto though.
yeah.
I like that young dude. I can't. We can't go there because we are getting late and it's like I don't want to spend too
Oh,
long.
definitely. Yeah, no, no.
But
Yeah, we'll just talk
there's
about the
so much
first
to talk
trilogy.
about for the
Yeah.
next trilogy. That shit is one of my favorites. Whew. So many good things, some bad things, but so many good things, and then some other bad things. But there's a lot to talk about for those ones. But yeah, the original trilogy. Did we miss anything? I think overall we've kind of covered it.
Uh,
Little to no sidetracks either.
we talked about Beast.
Yeah, Beast is so cool. I love Beast.
So good. Yeah, he was good. He was definitely like the nothing bad to say about Beast.
I love him.
in
He's
the
like
third
hanging
movie.
upside down reading a book, and you think he's normal.
Yeah,
That shot was
that's
so well done. To
right.
introduce him, I love it.
That was in the animated series too, I swear.
Probably. Yeah, he used to
I
hang
think
upside
they
down and read books
recreated it.
in
Yeah.
the animated series. Yeah.
I think they recreated a scene from the animated series. I could be wrong, but yeah, that was major nostalgia, like triggered when I saw him.
Right.
It was awesome.
Oh, Storm. I never got back on my shit about Storm.
All right,
Um,
yeah.
Storm in number one was perfect. I loved it. I heard someone try and tell me, yeah, I'm so glad she dropped that shitty fake accent she had in number one.
Did she have an accent? I don't remember.
Honestly, I heard it a little bit in like one thing she said,
I
and
think I pointed it out when I was showing the movies to Keely.
I
And then
thought
was
it
like, "Oh,
was
what the fuck?"
good.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't think it has to be always perfect. She
I
doesn't need
mean,
to sound
Tom
like she
Holland. Tom Holland has a literal
fake New York accent.
no Queen's accent in the in Civil War, but then he
Mhm.
drops it for all the rest of the movies, and I think he tries to pick it back up in uh what's it called fuck the third one.
No way.
I was like, yeah, No Way Home. Um, I think he tries to pick it back up, but it's not as nearly as good as it was in Civil War. Because in Civil War, it was like spot on Queen's accent. I could tell the motherfucker was practicing it. Also, he had way less lines, so he had less lines to practice the accent with.
Right,
So,
right.
and he wasn't going to do it. I guess he just realized he wasn't going to do an entire movie in a Queen's accent. So he
Right, and that could have
dropped it and
been
just did a general American accent.
that could have
Uh,
been the thing for Holly Berry too. She didn't have very many lines at all in number one,
yeah.
but I liked it. I was okay with it. The accent was kind of cool because I like a little flair. I want to remember when she was, at the time when she was a fucking like African goddess. Like
Right.
I want to
Yeah.
remember a little bit of that. Let's not just get rid of that and make her Americanized in some sense. I like a little twang to it. So I would have been
Yeah.
okay if she would have kept a little bit of the accent here and there. Give me a little something. Um,
Is the actual it's a newer actress? She's African, right? She's not American.
I don't know. Like I don't know anybody from Black Panther and what their nationality would be.
No, the new
Oh, the
Storm
new one for the
actress.
younger one?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know, but whoever she was, she did a fucking phenomenal job. But yeah, when it comes to accents, I don't really care where you're from as long as you can do it fine. And at least do it good enough. But
Mind-
I've heard
I don't
people
mind
say
if they have an accent or if they don't.
right.
Sometimes it's jarring, like especially if they're like supposed to be a British guy and they're not speaking, in a British accent. But I
Right.
can usually just look over it. I don't care. Like I've watched some like fantasy movie and they talk in a regular American accent, and I'm like, whatever, it's fine.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
That's not to say that I'm mad about it. I just think it would have been cooler if she would have kept something like that.
yeah,
But that's what. So, but anyway, so she had the long hair. The
yeah,
long white hair was fucking perfect. So perfect in number one. And then she had this like, what do you call it? Like the outfit. The outfit. I think at one point she had like the outfit that looked kind of on point. And then number two, her hair got shorter and the accent was gone, and she seemed more like, I don't know, more of Catwoman was showing through, more of just Holly Berry in general was showing through.
yeah.
And I was like, that's not. I don't like that. And then in number three, by the time she got to number three, her hair was even shorter. I was like, Jesus, now the hair's all gone, and like it just didn't feel like Storm as much for me.
Yeah.
I like the shit, and a couple other characters had that
What she
happen.
looks like in the comics now is more like that, though.
I see. I'm not a fan then. I guess I always liked.
Yeah,
I haven't read the new stuff, but
she
I
still has
like that.
long hair, but she has like the side, both sides of it. Like she has like at one point she has like a mohawk, but it's super long. So
Hey,
and
crazy.
it goes all the way to the yeah, okay, well mohawks all go all the way to the back. But yeah, she has like a crazy haircut. She
I
always
like
has some different haircut depending on the writer or the not the writer, but the artist.
Right.
So
I guess, yeah, it can be good. And it's not to say that it was bad. I don't mean that that haircut was ugly or bad or done poorly. I just like my long-haired Storm, and I thought that wasn't as cool. And they changed a couple characters like that. I think they changed Wolverine at some point. He didn't look as Wolverine-y. I think he looked a little bit more.
Farini.
He looked a little bit more human. He's never been like this crazy monster, but he did have beast-like features, and they were a little bit more accentuated. I think as the movies went on, he looked more and more human. And I think they did a couple characters like that.
Yeah.
And I thought about, for example, also Sabretooth and Toad. Those two were dead, so I thought they went to prison, but apparently like somebody was telling me he was pretty sure that they were dead. And I guess it makes sense.
Was supposed to die in one.
Because, yeah, Sabretooth got stabbed, and then, what's his name got struck by lightning, but I don't know. I guess that happens all the time in media, at least in certain, genres, and they come back. So I wasn't sure if they were dead, but they never showed up. But those two were good examples, though, of what I mean is where in the first one, you had a lot of fantasy-looking shit. And as the movies went on, it was more regular people, regular-looking people, teenage drama. They just started getting away from some of the stuff I liked, which is also why I love all the fan service in number 3, because it just was a big, good smack in the face of, here you go, here's the good shit you wanted. Like, yes! They had a lot of wacky-looking people, like crazy-looking stuff. They had, like, more mutant-looking people. I really enjoyed that. Because I don't know, I get it, Bobby's, he's a human, he's going to be fine. Like, if he doesn't have ice turned on...
Blue mutants.
Huh?
I like my blue mutants.
Right. Mystique was... You know what's crazy? Mystique was always so good. You know the worst Mystique? Sorry for that fucking movie. Was Dark Phoenix.
Oh my god!
I don't know what they did to her.
I'll talk about Mystique for hours.
We got to get there, but we won't do it now.
Know.
But
I'm not this sneak preview. I'm not a fan of Mystique not being constantly blue. I don't like her new plot point that she's doesn't like her blueness.
I was cool with the plot point, but I didn't like how much time she spent in human form.
That's my main gripe with it. Well,
right.
The reason why she's in human form, because it's all meta. The reason why she's in human form so much is because they want to give her this, like, I don't like that I'm different from everyone. And that's weird to me.
Right.
For Mystique. For Mystique personally, because she's supposed to be a person who sides with Eric, right?
Right.
But apparently she doesn't want to anymore.
Well, she did. That was the weird. That's why I thought they did it well. It was this idea that she was blue and Charles wasn't scared of her, so she can be herself.
Yeah.
But physically, literally, you
but
can't.
She's still ashamed of it.
I don't think she was ever ashamed of it. Never. I think she grew to hide it out of necessity.
Well, she seems like it because she's never in her blue form. Yeah.
But it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't because she cared. She was the opposite. So even when Eric went by and he was like, "You need to be yourself," and she was like, "Yeah, maybe I do." She went to Charles. She was like, "Hey, no, that was at the bar." She's like, "Would you date me if I was blue or something like that or whatever?"
Yeah.
And that was the wrong person to ask because I think he was pretty honest with his feelings. Like, I don't know. You're like my sister. I don't really know. Never thought about it. But you could tell she was thinking it was like, I don't think she was insecure, but I think she began to wonder, if I have to do this all the time, what if, I mean, I like my blue. Do you like my blue? Can I be blue? Can I try and do this? We're trying to make it equal, right? We're trying to fight for our rights.
Well, I can't wait till My Hero gets to that. There's some stuff with like the quirks who are have physical deformations and
oh, cool.
It's very small. I'm making it sound like it's really big. It's a really small. Yeah, one fight, tiny, couple chapters. Thing, and it's a really cool moment.
Right.
And I would say that My Hero is like X-Men, the manga X-Men. So,
kind of, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, really good.
But yeah, so then going on, when she met Eric, she sided with him, and she stayed blue all the time.
Yeah.
I think it was in Apocalypse, though. No,
Days of Future Past. Days of Future Past.
That was when it changed, because she... Hold on. No, she had been a Crusader.
Yeah.
So she never lost it. I don't think she was ever insecure about her looks.
I think after Days of Future Past, she just goes back to being normal human. But it's just my complaint is I gotta go back and rewatch them. I probably will. But my complaint literally is that she's not in blue the entire movie.
Right.
It's because, and it's probably not true. But my thinking is Jennifer Lawrence doesn't want to be in blue makeup all. In the entire the whole runtime of these movies,
probably. Yep, there's probably that. Maybe there was She had a little bit more CG effects, I think. Maybe
yeah, I don't even think
that was fine. They had the budget to do that in number one. Fuck that shit. There was not a budget issue.
No, like in number one, she was in full makeup the entire.
Her transformations, I mean.
Oh yeah, but her transformations were oftentimes were like they'd cut away and come back. But yeah, they definitely still showed it off a few times.
Right, and they were really well done.
Even in the newer ones, her transformations they'd cut away and come back to save money on CG.
Right. So maybe it was the actor. Maybe it was film time. Maybe like we can't keep doing this every day, getting you dressed up like this. I don't know.
Maybe, was she even in makeup, or was I know the first one it was makeup. It was all.
I think it was CG in the Days of Future Past ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
that's why she was yeah.
So it was cheaper to do it that way.
Yeah, maybe.
It was definitely makeup, and I think it was definitely makeup.
Also, Beast. I don't like Beast in human form.
Jesus, no, dude. I don't like Beast in human or Beast form.
Like the plots are so good in those movies, but the characters annoy me that they're not in there. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, no.
But they're good movies. They're still good movies.
Right, and we got to get there. Now we're getting sidetracked. We'll dive into that, but definitely back to the original ones.
Part 2 will be back next week.
Right. Yeah. Well, let's do that. Yeah. Let's plan for next week, and we'll do part 2, and we'll go through the second trilogy.
Yeah.
With Days of Future Past sprinkled in there.
Yeah.
But
that was good.
It's a good transition anyway. So I think Mystique, she was fucking phenomenal all through. Oh, we can't leave out with one of my favorite lines that I've ever heard from all of media, probably ever. Is when Mystique takes that dude in number 2, and she takes that fat prison guard and takes him to the bathroom.
Right.
Drugs his ass and pumps him full of lead, literally. It was iron, I get it, but that was the joke.
Yeah.
And she says, and no, not her. She doesn't say it. Magneto says it, and I fucking love it. Never trust a beautiful woman, especially one that's interested in you. Man, I live my life by those words, dude. I'm serious. I live my life by those words. Some pretty girl, hey, what do you want? I don't even put on the pretension that, oh yeah, she's talking to me because she thinks I'm interesting. No, the fuck, that bitch wants something from you. You are not Brad Pitt. You do not look good enough for attractive women.
Be. You don't know.
Yeah, sure. I am not attractive enough for women to come talk to me because they're interested in who I am as a person. Not gonna happen. Not unless maybe they.
That's a very savage line.
Maybe they listen.
Anyways, like, subscribe, hit all the buttons. You guys know. Our Patreon's the same name. Short Story Long Podcast. You get access probably another extra week early, maybe 2, possibly even 3. We're good.
You heard it here, folks. Fan 4 stick is coming, and She-Hulk should be out. By the time you see this, those should be out. But then again, that makes sense. It's episode 3. That clearly how that works. By the time you see this, episode 2 and 3 should be out. No shit, jackass. You fucking just skip it. Like, listen, this is why I'm not in charge. This is why I'm just here to talk.
If you haven't fucking seen those, we get a really good argument in She-Hulk.
She-Hulk was a good one. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I was drinking during the
Also-
She-Hulk one too. I've been sober for the last two.
Yeah,
So
I'm drinking during this one. Uh,
you can usually, you guys will tell if you watch enough of our podcast. You can tell when I have and have not been drinking.
All right.
Man.
I'm
All right.
good.
Good night, everyone. Take care of yourselves. And as always,
Don't take care of yourselves. Make sure you drink yourself to a stupor.
drink yourself into stupor. But after you like and subscribe and give us all your money, you got to do that first.
Yeah. You got to do it first. All right.